Hi folks, welcome back. I hope you had a fantastic New Year and Christmas break, if you were celebrating Christmas and New Year. If not, I just hope you had a good break in any case. We're still locked down firm and tight here in the UK, so no training, unfortunately, at the dojo for most of us, if not all of us at the moment, I believe. So today I just thought I would take a quick look at some home fitness, strength and conditioning stuff that you could do. I'm not going to cover the high intensity stuff. You can do that running in the park. Normally I would suggest swimming, but obviously, swimming pools for the most part are closed unless you happen to have one, at your house or where you live, that sort of thing. But public pools are closed for many of us. So that kind of leaves like running and cycling and things like that. And those are all good and well and great for keeping up your general cardiovascular health. And if you do it in a high intensity burst situation, like 100 meter sprint, walk back the 100 meters, sprint it again, and so on and so forth. Do that like 10 times in a day. And that's about the best you can do to maintain your cardiovascular intensity style, that you would use for Kendo. It's quite a close simulation of that. So that's probably the best you could do for that. And you can do the same thing, same approach on a bike if you want to avoid the impact on your knees, joints, and things like that. So that's not really what I want to talk about today because I think it's pretty obvious. I just want to talk about some strength related stuff that you can do in the house. Considering most gyms are closed. Now, if you're an experienced gym guy, you don't really need this video. It's not for you. This is more for like the beginners or people who don't really frequent gyms and they just want to keep some basic strength about their bodies and their core and in the various systems of the body, just to maintain a basic strength level so that when they go back to the dojo, they're ready to rock. So let's start off with the basic push-up. It's really important when you do push-ups that you get the arm positioning right here. As you can see, my hands are slightly lower than my shoulders, and you do it with a feeling where you basically bring your elbows, drive your elbows inwards. It's primarily a chest exercise, but you can work your core as well here by maintaining a nice straight posture. So avoid letting your stomach and your butt kind of dip down through the movement. That's really important. Okay. If you can't do a push-up, you can always do this from your knees. Okay, so you can rest on your knees rather than your toes and perform the push-up that way, but the same rules still apply. You can do a few variants here. You can see I'm doing a decline push-up, and this would be one of the harder variants, and it kind of just focuses a lot of the weight onto your upper chest. Then the standard push-up, you can do these in a sequence, so you could do say 12 decline push-ups, 12 standard push-ups, and 12 decline push-ups, incline push-ups. So decline, standard, and incline push-ups. And they all work slightly different areas of your chest. They keep your core engaged for a long time. So you could do like 12 reps, 10-second break, 12 reps, 10-second break. And then when you get used to that, then you can just up the reps by 2 or 3. Or you can go to failure. If you go to failure, 10-second break, go to failure, 10-second break, etc., etc. And keep the intensity up that way. Then the push-up is a great exercise, as I say, for your chest and your core, and a bit for your triceps as well, but we'll get to those later. So let's move on to the abs. Here I'm just doing a standard V-up. It's important that people don't do sit-ups and crunches and stuff like that. That's very bad for your back. It causes shearing of the lower vertebra and affects the cartilage in those areas as well. So instead, try and introduce exercises where you pull your hips up towards your body. They're far more effective for your abs anyway. But you can still gain a bit from maneuvering the back in some ways because that is one of the functions of the abs. But you just don't want to go past a certain point, and these exercises help you prevent that. Okay, so just basically bringing your legs up and your hips up towards your chest, as well as lifting your chest, is going to help. These here are called the crab. So this introduces a bit of a twisting motion where you kind of reach in the direction of almost as if you're going to try and touch your feet. And your back never actually rests on the ground. It actually stays off the ground through this exercise. And by introducing a twisting motion, you start to recruit your oblique muscles. And this is really important. So when we receive like taitari in keiko, we're asking quite a lot of the abs, the lower back, and the obliques. The obliques control the twisting of your trunk, and it's important to work them in balance. If you have an exercise band, here's something you can do with it. You can attach this to a door handle, and you simply twist and rotate your hips. Just make sure not to, just keep your arms straight. Don't move your arms. Make sure that you're generating the movement from your hips. But you can easily do another variation and turn this into a chest exercise by keeping the hips still and pulling the arms across your chest, in which case you'll work your inner pectorals, your inner chest muscles. So there's a couple things you can do with an exercise band that are pretty good. And again, like 12 to 15 reps is probably enough, 20 at most. But the great thing is you can just add bands of resistance. Just add bands to increase the resistance. And these are pretty affordable as well. I think you can buy a set of these for like 30-40 pounds. They're not expensive. So yeah, highly recommend getting exercise bands. There's a lot of things you can do with them. So if you don't have dumbbells, you can use these for like bicep curls and things like that as well. Okay, so moving along. Again, if you don't have the resistance bands but you still want to get more twisting action into your ab work, you can do these. So you can do V-ups. These are Russian V-twists. So all you're doing is just adding a 180 degree style twisting motion to a standard V-up. It keeps you in the rep a little bit longer, and as I say, just recruits the obliques into the motion. So it's pretty complete as an exercise. So here we move on to the triceps. You can see I'm using a bench from like my kitchen dining set here. We're just basically doing a tricep pullover with a pretty light dumbbell. It's maybe I think it's probably about 2 kilos or something like that. You don't want to go too heavy on these. You should be very careful with them. It's easy to hurt yourself. But the idea with these is it's quite useful for a kendoka because you're almost mimicking the motion that you use when you start your cut with the shinai. And again, as I say, these muscles, they're not awfully big, so don't overload them. Start with a lower weight, and if it starts to burn at between sort of 12 and 15 reps, that's about right for you. If it doesn't do that and you just sort of make it all the way to like 20 reps, and you might want to increase it by say half a kilo or something like that. Bicep curls. We don't use our biceps a lot in Kendo, but it's important to work them. If you work the triceps, you should work the other side of your arm, okay? And your triceps and your biceps work together to control, your elbow joint. So you want to work both sides, otherwise you're going to end up with pain and straining issues and stuff like that. You'll notice I twist my wrist slightly out and over my shoulder at the end of the movement. And this is very important for to maximize the motion. So try and do that. It also helps preserve a bit of your wrist strength as well. But you'll get that from Suburi anyway. We're moving on to the back now. This is for your lats, okay? The muscles, on your sort of wings on the side of your chest area. And so basically what we're doing is mimicking like what you would get from a rowing machine, okay? It's really important, don't place the legs too far apart. You can see I'm putting one leg behind the other just to make space here. Try not to squat when you do these because you can get a hernia. You can take a bit of a heavier weight here. I usually do about 4 kilos when I do this. But the important thing is to just lift your elbow behind your back and make sure you don't like sort of twist your torso at all. If you twist your torso again, you're asking for hernia, so just be careful with these. But they're really good for working your lats. This is probably one of the most important exercises, along with the push-up and the abs work we've talked about so far, is the pull-up. Okay, you can use a door frame or you can buy a pull-up bar, whatever works for you. Door frames work for me. And again, I mean, if you're doing anything more than 10 of these, you're doing well. Just make sure to lift yourself nice and straight and keep tension in your abdominals to stop your legs swinging around all over the place. And just lift until you get to failure, basically. These here are chin-ups, so this is where you change the grip the other way around. So this is with your palms facing towards you, whereas a pull-up is your palms facing away from you. And that will work your triceps and chest area, whereas the pull-up, where your grip is facing away from you, that'll actually work your lats again, and you know, you're basically the entire chain of your back really is kind of recruited in that movement. So together they work the front and back side of your chest, you know, and your back. So here we just lie down flat on our face, or on our belly, and you're going to lift your legs and your chest off the floor, and you're also going to rotate your arms. So you start with the back of your hand touching the floor, and then you rotate that so that the back of the hand is facing the ceiling or the roof for each movement. And you can increase the difficulty by holding that posture for say 3 seconds or 5 seconds, you know, as you get stronger and stronger at it. But this will work your entire posterior chain. So it's really, really good because it starts to train in some of the lower back elements, and also the muscles that are kind of like behind your shoulder blades. Starts to recruit them as well, which is really good because up until now we haven't really hit them. And that's some of the smaller fiddly diddly muscles in your back. And you'll know from like when you go to seminars and things like that, if you get like back pain and lower back pain and stuff like that, that's why. It's often because certain muscles in your body are working harder than others because the others are not up to it, because you haven't trained them enough, because you've only been doing Kendo basically. So your lower back muscles are doing everything for you. So this exercise here, all you do is position your elbows, you know, lie on your back, position your elbows at about 45 degrees, and you just push in with your elbows to lift your torso. The hardest thing here is just keeping your abs relaxed so that you don't cheat through the movement, so that the abs don't drive the movement. You don't want to do that at all. You just want to use your shoulder blades to, you know, you basically want to pinch your shoulder blades together and drive all that force through your elbows, and that'll again work the sort of upper back quite well. And those few exercises there in combination, you'll soon have a pretty strong back, even though you don't have gym equipment. So now we're moving on to the legs. So these are just standard lunges. You can do these with kettlebells. In this case I'm doing with dumbbells. The main thing is just keep the weight nice and stable alongside your hips, okay? And don't rush the movement, because you basically you just want to be careful about your knees here, so you don't want to lose balance and wobble and that sort of thing. So just go slow and steady. But you're mimicking the movement that you do for like fumikomi, and by adding the weight and stuff like that. So you're basically going to work quite hard to strengthen your hamstrings, and you're also working your quads here. So the hamstrings are the muscles behind you, you know, in the back of your thighs, and the quads are on the front. Here we're just doing step-ups, weighted step-ups. Again, I'm using the bench, but you could use stairs in your house. You could use the edge of a sofa, as long as the ceiling isn't too low. You'll see I headbutt the light here in just a second. An important thing when you complete each step-up, as you step up, tense your butt cheeks, and that way you can work your glutes as well. Okay. So it's all about trying to get the most out of each movement here. And this is another variation of it without the weights, but this time what I'm doing is I'm finishing the movement by extending my heel up. So pushing the heel up as high as I can, so just standing on my tippy toes. And in that way I'm recruiting the calf muscles. So you can do it with a couple of different ways to change the focus of the exercise so that you kind of work as much of the leg as possible. So you get your calves, you get your glutes, you get your hamstrings, and you get your quads. So pretty complete and not much effort. Here we're just doing standard squats, weighted squats, again using the 2 dumbbells. If you do these, just bear in mind, just a safety tip, make sure that you stick your backside outwards when you get to the lowest portion of the movement. This keeps the weight centered over the middle of your legs, which basically just protects your knees from damage. It's a bit different from how we would normally do this sort of movement when we're in the dojo doing suburi, where we're encouraged to have a very, very straight back, as if we have like a string tying a head, and back and everything to the floor in a straight line. For weighted squats, serious squatting work, you don't want to do that. It's different when you're just doing it in the dojo with a shinai, because there's no added weight, so it doesn't really increase the risk. But if you do it with dumbbells and things like that, you've increased the weight and you've increased the risk. So you need to take precautions. So yeah, stick your butt out when you do that movement, and still keep your back straight, and you'll generally be okay. So that kind of wraps up all the movements. As I said, look, these are just basic ones. It's what works for me. It's not even all of the things I do, but it's probably, I'd say, 90% of what I usually do on a regular basis, just to keep fundamental core strength in all areas of my body, so that I'm kind of always Keiko ready, Shiai ready, that sort of thing from a physical fitness standpoint. As I said before, make sure that you warm up and take your time, build up steadily, don't bite off more than you can chew. And obviously we want to avoid injuries at all costs, but it shouldn't be hard for you to maintain a good level of strength and fitness for your kendo at home. You can do it for the most part without any body weight, without any weights or equipment, and just a small investment in a set of dumbbells and exercise bands, and maybe a pull-up bar, and you can do quite a lot. The most important ones I would do is the pull-ups, the push-ups, and all of the ab work where you're lying on your back. Those are the most important ones that I wouldn't do without, and you could kind of supplement the rest if you had to. But certainly those at a bare minimum, I would definitely do those. And yeah, that pretty much covers it. Look, all of this stuff I learned from a really good athlete called Jeff Cavalier, and he's got a channel on YouTube which handles fitness, and he does a body weight only fitness program, and he does loads of free instruction on his videos. His channel's called AthleanX. I'll link it above, roundabout now. Head over there and check it out. It's really top-notch quality material, all handled really safely. The guy coaches baseball teams, basketball teams, football, NFL teams, all kinds of different people. And he uses science and research to tailor everybody's training directly to them. And so like kendo guys don't need to be built like bodybuilders. Yeah, in fact, that would probably be bad for our kendo. And he's the kind of coach that will take that into account and do construct a workout correctly for you that will aid your kendo and fits in with your time and doesn't like cause you injury in the context of your kendo. Now, he hasn't done a kendo specific workout, but if you use your brain and do your research on his channel, there's plenty to dig into, and you can take what I've said, mentioned here, which will get you started, and you can really like perfect your forms and deepen your knowledge. And if you want to take it to a place where you want to maybe like bulk up a little bit and just take your strength to the next level, you can. Or if you want to find ways to make it more efficient so it doesn't take up as much of your time, because maybe you don't have a lot of time to do this. Like I only spend 20 minutes to half an hour a day, and I will split it up. One day I'll do, all pulling exercises. The other day I'll do all pushing exercises. And then on a third day, I'll do legs. And I'll just do that in a sequence for 6 days a week, and then take 1 day a week off to rest or something like that. And by breaking it up like that, I'm maybe only doing it for 20 minutes a day. But head over to his channel, check it out, see what you think, and spend a bit of time learning about this stuff, and you can really tailor it to your own needs. But there's no reason why any kendoka shouldn't be able to be pretty strong and well prepared and conditioned for what they do every day, and it'll help you with everyday injuries. Like I said, a lot of your like back pain, niggles, and if you've got any sort of chronic pains that bother you, knee pains and stuff like that, you can make a lot of them go away just by staying in shape and doing it in a way where your body is balanced. So you don't just work your arms, you don't just work your legs, and like kendoka, stop just working the left side of your body. Yeah. So some of this is corrective, and as I say, corrective work is going to help you prevent injury and chronic pain and stuff like that. Anyway, that's all I've got to say on it. I hope you enjoyed the video, and take care. See you soon.